Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. So, all my life's misery started when my dad married the girl he cheated on my mom with. She was someone he worked with, but as soon as my dad and mom got their divorce finalized, she left her job and came to live with us. My mom was a stay at home mom, so she did not have a job at the time of their split and could not afford to take me. Thus, I ended up spending my teen years with my stepmom and her daughter, who clearly did not like me, and the feelings were mutual. Sally, my stepsister, was also my age, so as soon as she moved in, she took almost everything. She started the same school as me, and she took half of my room. I was a bitch about it at first, and who would not be? I lived as an only child all my life. And now suddenly, she was trying to take everything from me. My anger stayed for the first few months, but then I started to care less and less in order to take a mature angle on things. It was hard because I was also a child, but I did it for the sake of my dad. It worked. We often had fights, and her mom was always mean to me, but I survived the 5 years of torture and then moved out as soon as I graduated from high school. I specifically told my father to not let Sally come to my college city. He promised me he would not, but then again, he also made a vow of loyalty to my mom at their wedding. So here we were. Sally just loved to meddle in my life. If she wanted to get involved and a part of it, I was all down for it. A friendship would not have hurt me in any way, but she was just hell bent on trying to ruin my life. She tried to sabotage everything. She seemed obsessed. She did not get accepted at college I was in, so she did not go to college at all, or more likely, did not get into any. Still, she stayed in the same city, having my dad to pay her bills, OFC. My dad did ask me to let her stay with me as we were both figuring our way out into the real world. When I outright refused, she somehow coaxed him into getting her an apartment. That hurt me so bad, and when I went to talk to my dad about it, he got mad at me. It was just what Sally had wished for, I bet. She did not even stop at that. She forced herself into my friend group, constantly showing up at my part time job to make my life hard for no reason at all. I was never even mean to her. She just did not like me for some reason. I was taking everything. I hated it, but I was still enduring her painful presence in my life. But she crossed all the limits this time. Let me tell you what she did. So it is going to be my final year of college, and I have a pretty secure job at an advertising agency and a doctor boyfriend whom I met at one of my work meets. Carl and I had been together since my freshman year. We never talked about it, but we were pretty serious about each other and so in love. I managed to hide him from Sally for a year, but then one day she found us on one of our dates and set on her next mission of ruining my love life too. But I had told Carl all about my insufferable stepsister, so he understood it. I tried to keep them apart for the most part. Carl was a busy man and only had time for me, so it was not that hard until he asked me to move in with him 6 months ago. I was just starting to make money and did not have a lot of it because I refused to let my dad help me after he bought Sally an apartment. Plus, he was always at work, and it was just logical staying together after 2 years of dating. So when I moved in with him, it did not stop Sally from frequenting her visits. She always came crying for one reason or another. She knew I couldn't care less about the guy she did not even date, breaking her heart, but I just never had it in me to shut the door at her face. In her frequent visits, she kind of succeeded in forcing herself into my love life. She tried to flirt with Carl and always asked him questions and things. I knew what she was trying to do, and I warned her not to try it because I am going to do something she would not be able to take if she tried something with Carl. She faked an innocent expression, saying she had no idea what it was I was talking about. One night she came over begging to let her stay because apparently her apartment, which I had never seen by the way, made her feel weird and unsafe. I told her to find a new place or go to a friend's, but she stayed outside my door. I agreed to let her stay for a few nights, but she attempted to steal my boyfriend the first night by offering to sleep with him as a payment to let her stay. She was so shameless. When I called her out on it, she started to laugh and said she was joking, but I was taking none of it. I told her to grab her crap and leave at the moment. I practically kicked her out, and I'm happy about it. I thought she got the message because it had been a whole week without her bothering me. I was enjoying my peaceful week, and last weekend I planned to go out drinking with my friends. Carl had a long shift, so he decided to sleep in the whole weekend and asked me to spend Sunday with him. We agreed, and I was out at a bar on Friday at 1 a.m., half drunk, when the notification of Carl's location popped up on my phone. I thought about where he was going at this late. He took the whole weekend off. I told myself it could be an emergency at the hospital, but I just could not shake the feeling. I tried calling him, but his phone was busy all the time. Who the hell is he talking to while driving? I had thought. My anxiety got the best of me, and I called an Uber to go see where he was. I reached the place he was at for 10 minutes now. I was almost scared to find out what it was all about. My worst thought was that he could be cheating on me. But why did he not turn his location off if he was cheating on me? I got out of the cab and entered the building. It was a fancy building. I got even more nervous. I did not know what floor he went to or anything, so I decided to play it safe and call him and ask him what he was doing here. Before I could call him, I received a text from him saying, "Your sister is crazy." My sister? I called him, and before he could pick up, I saw him coming out of the elevator. He looked at me and was surprised to find me there. He was shocked but not scared. A good sign. He was not cheating. He came to me and saw the sacred tears in my eyes and hugged me tight. I asked him what happened, and he told me that Sally called him in the middle of the night and started crying, begging that she thought someone broke into her apartment and that she was hiding in the closet. That she tried to call me, but I did not pick up. He thought it believable that I did not pick up, thinking that she was just calling to babble and that he wanted to call me, but sadly never hung up and just kept crying. He came as fast as he could, and when he entered the apartment, there was no one. He went to the master bedroom and found her laying there naked. She tried to get him to sleep with her, even told him that it would be a one-time thing and I would never have to find out. He looked done with her. I was already on alcohol, and this was the last stroke of hers. I decided I was going to teach her a lesson this time. Carl tried to talk me out of it and just go home to sleep. I was sick of her. We went up to her floor. He opened the door. He knew the passcode. I looked at him sideways, to which he told me that she told him the passcode on the call when he came in to check on her. I told him to go in as soon as he unlocked the door and went in. Sally started to speak and said she knew he could not resist her and how she was so much better than me and he would not regret the night. All the while I recorded her. I made sure to not turn the lights on so she did not look naked in the video, but it was evident that she was naked. After listening for 5 minutes of her babbling, I turned the lights on and showed her my phone screen. I told her this was going to be the last time that she attempted to make my life miserable, and I hit send to the video. I sent it to our family group chat. She looked like an angry cat and tried to hit me, but Carl stopped her and very firmly told her to stay away from me and find another couple to satisfy her sick need of validation. I love my baby. He looks so hot while taking my side. He says I did a bit too much by sending the clip in the group chat, but he did not blame me for it. I have not heard from her mom or my dad till now, but they have seen the video. My dad probably cut her off after that. I still just can't seem to bring myself to feel bad for her. Am I an a-hole for that? I mean, she also tried everything she could, just so I can never have anything to be happy about, and I bet she never felt bad. But still, there was something inside me feeling guilty, so I am here for you all to judge me. I see. I think you had your reasons for doing what you did, but could you not see the signs of mental illness in your stepsister? I mean, they were pretty evident. She was suffering through something. You treated her like a normal person, and painting her a bad girl was an a-hole move. The girl clearly had some childhood traumas that she needed to unpack in therapy. Oh, girl, I can relate to you so much. I also have a stepsister who tries to ruin everything I do. It's just so annoying. They can't stop and be happy for once. You did the right thing. I hope she feels embarrassed enough to not try anything like that again. I am a 26-year-old female and recently got married to my husband, 29. Me and my younger sister, 15, female, are pretty close as my mom died when we were younger and I acted as her mom while my dad went to work to provide for us. Because of this, I chose my sister as maid of honor. My husband was pretty on board with this as well. He and my sister are very close. He loves her dearly, like she's his daughter. On the other hand, my husband's family opposed my decision. I announced my choice during a family dinner with both families. When I did so, my mother in law excused herself and father in law followed. I was pretty confused because everyone gave me looks. They came back and told me that it was a family tradition to have the youngest daughter of the husband's family as the maid of honor. I was surprised because I'd never heard of a tradition like that. I kind of awkwardly chuckled and said, "What kind of bullshit tradition is that? Sorry, but I'm not doing that." The rest of the night was very awkward. I never brought up the situation again until the day before the wedding. I was finishing up planning for the wedding when my sister in law, 20, came to the venue asking for her dress. I was confused and asked, "What dress?" She chuckled and said, "Doesn't the maid of honor have a special dress?" At that point, I was fuming because I knew they had planned this without talking to me about it, even when I told them and my sister in law that I wasn't following the tradition. I angrily told her, "You're not the maid of honor." She stood shocked, but eventually left. I felt bad for the way I told her off, but I already announced that my sister was my choice. I wouldn't let them take control of my wedding. The wedding did eventually happen with my sister as my maid of honor and sister in law as one of the bridesmaids. It was so fun and honestly the best day of my life, but I could feel the passive aggressiveness from my husband's family. Unfortunately, after the wedding, I got many angry texts from them, and I saw hundreds of posts on Facebook saying how terrible I was for my decision. I did feel terrible about the way I spoke to sister in law, so I apologized over texts. She cursed me out and blocked me. I feel so terrible about the entire situation, but I'm glad I stood my ground. AITA. The info that I left out, I had already told my sister in law that she was a bridesmaid even weeks before the situation occurred. I even gave her her fitted dress. That's why I was so confused as to why she would ask for the MOH dress the day before. Turns out the tradition thing was true to an extent. There was a tradition, which is way more common to have, which is groom's sisters would be part of the bridesmaids. They came up with the maid of honor thing to give sister in law a spotlight because she's never a part of things like this. They got most of the family to go on board with this tradition, although some didn't, which is why I heard from my husband's second cousin. It was so confusing, and they almost ruined my wedding over this. I never had a bad relationship with my husband's family before this. I was as respectful as a daughter in law can be, so I have no idea why I was treated the way I was treated. This will be the last edit. NTA, it's your wedding, not theirs. And if it was so important, it would have been brought up way, way, way beforehand with proper explanation. Additionally, I hope things turn out okay. That side of the family sounds hell of a toxic already. I see where you're coming from, but if I'm being honest, if I was happy at a family dinner where we were talking about mine and my future husband's wedding, and I had just excitedly announced to my family and future in laws that my sister would be my MOH, and that was met with weird looks from their family and my MIL and FFIL leaving the table, I'd already be confused and peeved. If they then come back to the dinner table and try to deny me my own choice in any way because choosing my sister, whom I've practically raised, doesn't follow one of their traditions that I've never heard of, I would have likely responded the way that OP did, or potentially worse. Typically, I don't agree with being rude and bad manners, but I actually think that her response was directly proportional to the criticism she was taking, if not going far enough to make it clear that she won't ever be pushed around or shamed into doing what they want. NTA, OP. at all. I'd rather read about someone here standing up for themselves than the alternative any day of the week. I'm a 22-year-old female, and my little sister May's 10, female legal guardian. She started living with me when I was 18 and she was 6, but I've honestly been raising her since she was a baby because our mom didn't do much and her dad isn't around. I'm a firm believer in letting kids express themselves. So when May started gravitating towards traditionally masculine things, I didn't force her to do girl stuff. I just let her do what made her happy. She cut her hair and stopped wearing dresses and things like that. We even redecorated her room as dinosaur themed because they're her favorite things. She's only 10, and I think it would be dumb to deprive her of joy just because other people think that boys should behave one way and girls should behave another. I've always encouraged her to just be her and do what makes her happy. Recently, May's grandmother, Anne, 60, got into contact with me and asked to see her. She's never met May, and her son, May's dad, hasn't met her either. He doesn't even have rights to her. I did agree to let Anne meet her under the conditions that May agreed to the meeting and that May's dad wouldn't be present, know about it. She said okay, so we made plans to meet at a restaurant. May picked out a button-up shirt with dinosaurs on it and some shorts to wear. She just looked so happy with her choices that I didn't consider making her change or anything. When we arrived, Anne was there, but she immediately looked bothered upon seeing May. She asked where her granddaughter was, and when I told her that my sister was right here, she immediately went off. She started saying that I never deserved guardianship of May, that I'm turning her grandchild into someone she's not, forcing her to be a boy, etc. We started getting looks from other people, and May was clearly upset by what was happening, so I took her and left the restaurant. I later got another message from Anne saying she plans on taking custody of May because, according to her, I'm ruining her. I told my best friend about it, and she said that I should have made May dress differently before taking her to dinner because Anne was obviously from a different time, and I should have been mindful of that. But I feel like if I had done that, then I'd be going back on how often I've told my sister that who she is and what she likes to wear, do, is nothing to be ashamed of. I don't know what to do. I don't think I should have made May change her outfit just to go meet a woman she doesn't even know. And I don't even think that letting May be herself is wrong either. But if it could have helped avoid any issues with Anne, maybe I should have asked May to tone it down a little. Am I an a-hole because I didn't do that? 100% NTA, and don't be afraid of her stupid threats. She's not got a leg to stand on. Neither does she seem to have anything to offer your sister. I think you did great. And bonus, Anne revealed her truth earlier rather than later, so you can wave bye-bye. NTA, you're doing the right thing by showing your sister that she doesn't need to pretend to be someone she's not just to please others, especially not people who have never cared about her before. It's not your or May's problem that Anne is apparently unable to move past the gender roles she was raised with. You might want to get legal advice, though, in case Anne actually tries to get custody. NTA, there is no way you're the AH here. Nope, not at all. You know why? Because you are a freaking hero, and May is very, very lucky to have someone as wonderful as you to raise her. You keep doing what you're doing and watch your baby sister soar as she grows up because she knows you've got her back no matter what. Please try not to second guess yourself because she only has you. She has you, and you loving and supporting her unconditionally are worth 1,000 times more than the biggest family in the world if they would only judge her and try to force her to be something she's not. You rock, OP.